So this is the time of the month, around the 1st, the time releasing this is your ex coming back. And this is for those of you who are actually anticipating and hoping that somebody might return, or you are considering to return back to them. This is also good for on and off relationships and kind of like get a better perspective and balance. This is also very good for people to know what is he or she thinking if you're thinking in a distance. Now this is a general reading, and this may be a message for you. There are like thousands of people viewing these videos, so maybe you needed to receive this message, or maybe it wasn't for you. So don't jump the gun. Maybe some other message is going to go being directed to you. It is only the personal reading that I kind of like summarize and summon that energy for you. If you are here the first time, please stay on to kind of like see the explanation to why am I doing this. If you're not, hey guys, just jump right in. Thank you very much, and I'll see you in a few seconds. So if you're the first time here, I'm going to explain to you this set of cards. These are the cards taken from a different deck. You will see the same cards in this one as well, and they are so-called significators in tarot. I don't know how much you know about tarot, but spreads are not as easy as they appear to be. Sometimes it looks like, oh, just like people throw things together. No, it is like, it's like cooking. You cannot put everything with everything to actually work out. So it took me forever. Actually, that 7th card, it's just like a lottery. It was really, really difficult, and literally getting a good spread, it is like a bingo. So I have these 7 cards. They're like just like the titles of the book, and I'm not reading those cards. They're just representing what I want to find out here. What I'm reading is like what is coming underneath. And so again, this is for those of you who either have on and off relationship, or who are hoping for the ex to come back, or who actually really want to peek in their mind and to see what they're thinking about you. That's kind of like really neat feature of this spread. So the very first card, the Magician. The Magician is generally somebody who can create anything out of nothing. As above, so below, from A to Z. Like, this is not an advertising for Amazon. Something that can actually really go forward. Generally in this category, I really want to see the things that are going for you. So if you have negative cards here, of course, maybe something was just like not a go from the beginning, or it's not starter. Temperance is purposely reversed, because in the upright situation, Temperance talks about everything in the right time, the right place, right person. Stars are lining up. But when this reverses, stars are not lining up. Something is off. And here we are discovering what needs to be glued, what is off. The Queen of Wands and Knight of Wands will be significators, either or. One can be you, another one can be a partner. They are interchangeable because, of course, the relationship flows 2 ways. As you're seeing here, those are those wands, arrows going through the air. It's the energy in between the 2 partners, the communication. The reason that for everybody I'm using wands, I really think when we are into back to reconnection mode, we also want to be enticing, we want to be active, and hence we kind of like get into this kind of like wands situation, and we all become wands in that situation, and then slowly we are kind of like going back to whatever is our normal mode. Now these 2 cards, the Judgment, I'm literally looking here, is this relationship karmic? Is this relationship is in your best interest? What from the past issues you're bringing here to the fore to actually really deal with, and why this relationship even existed? Kind of like really important category, what you need to clear in order for you to move forward, even if your ex doesn't come back. And then lastly, for Wands, is telling me what is the future of this relationship? What can happen? Can you go to this next level or not? So I think this kind of like was not taking too much time, and now that you know all the significators, let's start going in the reading. So is your ex coming back? Hi Geminis, happy birthday. And I'm really sorry to see that you're like really anticipating spending your birthday and you're still wondering if your ex will come back. Again, guys, check me out for your private reading, because as I said, this could be tidbits of you, and maybe the messages are just hitting somebody else. But also check your rising sign and check your moon sign, and possibly Venus as well. And if you're cross watching, check their Mars sign. That one is a good one. So shall we start? Gemini. If these significators are not clear, just like rewind back to kind of like get an idea. And I'm going to a little bit differently, read it differently this month. Whole bunch of weirdos coming out so far. Oh boy. Oh boy. Some of you guys are going through a really big breakup from what I see over here. The others of you are really feeling like I can actually even see a possible divorce. Like, because the King of Swords and Queen of Swords, like, this is definitely you. You are that air sign. Now both of them are reversed. And here, the Ace of Swords standing like upright, but in a category of what needs to be glued. There were lies, like sweet little lies over here. But, you know, the problem here is that this person is not even getting it. Like, when you get a Six of Pentacles in the situation, this person really thinks, hey, I was doing right thing, right? I was doing what needs to be done. Maybe you have been attacked that you're not a good partner, or you're not a good parent, and that is kind of like really hitting the spot for you. Here, the karma is saying the contract is over. This is kind of like a really clear sign. Maybe, you know, like there's like all these talks about soulmates and twin flames, and I'm soon going to have actually a series on that. But kind of like the chase happens throughout like many timelines and many lives. So it could be hundreds, it could be thousands, right? So idea is like that, to kind of like you put this kind of like two pieces together and that everything works out. But in the meantime, these relationships can be very difficult. And here, when this shows up, it is like really clearly telling me that you actually have absorbed certain lesson. You have absorbed, looks like somebody really cut the cord over here. To me, this is definitely a breakup, and this is a karma card. So clearly something is really going on, and something didn't continue because it has been possibly very unconventional. It has been going in that direction. For some reason, the Hierophant does like structure, and maybe some of you are actually looking or seeking therapy. Also, it looks like that maybe somebody rejected therapy, so maybe you were hoping, hey, you know what, if we just do this, maybe things will work out. But somebody really rejected, and they really feel that they're doing nothing wrong, and that kind of like makes you want to pull your own hair. So let me see what other messages I get for this month, because it's going to be interesting. Look at here, I have like this two King of, you really are going to feel, oh my gosh, Gemini. And I guess, again, let me repeat it, this is a general reading. It could be different in your case. Look, you have like two sixes already here. I would not be surprised to see one more six. Was there somebody else in this situation? Something that almost like blindsided you? And it could be even another man. So whether you're a man or a woman, but it doesn't have to be, because king and queens are no longer specifying a certain gender. But like all three kings here are reversed. You're really subject to so many lies, to a point that somebody maybe didn't tell you about the status of, let's say, their relationship. That could have been in something serious, and they've forgotten to tell you, because King of Pentacles to me is a married guy. King of Wands is a guy who is like in a very serious relationship, but is still playing the field whenever they can, right? And the Devil talks about lure of a person, not necessarily love. We do sometimes call it love. Sometimes even people call it twin flame, because after all, in hell you have all these flames. Remember, no flames in heaven. So how this flame manifests, you see it here? This flame manifests in a kind of like really interesting way. that you really crave this person. You almost like you start crying when you feel that you don't have their touch, or that you even think that you're never going to hear them or see from them. You're not focused on what you should be focused on, which looks like at some point you would be here going to enter things with very kind of like sober mind, and kind of like, okay, done. You didn't recognize who I am. You did not recognize what I am bringing on board, and you know, this is what I want, and if you don't want it that way, what can I do, right? Sometimes like it's kind of like status quo or an impasse that people have to face. But sometimes, instead of like, if somebody kind of like put a knife in you, you would not go, oh, you know, I'll try it a few more times, right? You would not do that. So when the devil card shows up, you're literally asking, you're a sucker for punishment in the situation, and you have to focus on the lies. Would you lie to someone else if you love somebody? Would you lie to somebody else if you know? I mean, I get it. Some people lie because they don't want to hurt. But these were not simple lies over here. These were some structural, substantial lies, such as you're building your future. You're building your emotions. This is something that really penetrates. And this person is just like, you know, I don't really care. Very, very reckless. Because it could have been a third party that I see here. Maybe you were aware of that third party, but not to extent that it was manifested. So somebody said, oh, no, I'm separated, or no, we are off, we haven't seen each other. Next thing you know, like he just moved out, or he was just thrown out, or she basically still kind of like seeing somebody else. That's kind of like what devil experience and explains. Devil can also talk about, be very careful, this person has some kind of like serious issues. One person here could actually even have issues with money, and maybe you're being drained for resources, maybe you're being drained for emotion, maybe you simply are a booty call, even though usually the knights are booty calls. But both of these guys are kind of like really dishonest, to say the least, manipulation of the highest extent, right? And I think you're kind of like led down the garden path here, and maybe you have been trusting, hence the swords. We air signs, we do have this rep about being blunt and being incredibly kind of like too much. But the truth is that we want the truth, and the truth is basically going to set us free. Sometimes this truth is hurtful and it comes as a shock to us, which kind of like I can see this here. But at least it's over. It's like pulling the band-aid. Do you really want to go a little bit by a little bit, or just like going to just like decide it's off? So guys, you need to kind of like really look inside of yourself, especially if you are a woman. Then this kind of like would more or less tell me about codependency. Men don't kind of like deal with, well, they also have codependency of a different way. This kind of like codependency means that almost like you have one partner that is like a bit self-absorbed. I mean, it's the range from self-absorbed to narcissistic. It can be anywhere on that scale, right? It's not like just on and off switch. Could be like 4 or 5 stages over here. And that somebody managed to convince you they are so great and, oh, you should just like be so happy to be with them. If that's the case, forget it. So let's see how they felt. You know, look, that's another third 6. Did I not tell you we'll have 3 6s? I did. So 3 6s, 6 6 6. Yes, it is a devil sign, but it's also karmic. It's a karmic sign, and that means, first of all, they want to move on from what I see over here. It looks like they have made this decision. Maybe you broke it off. Maybe they did, but in any case, it looks like they are kind of like in the process of maybe finding something else. This is kind of like also a card that signifies trouble. And maybe you became too much of a trouble for them, which means, hey, you know, finally you realize the truth, you kind of like face them in their lies, and they figure out they cannot sustain and maintain what they have lied to you because you're not sold on it anymore, right? And they're moving on. This also can literally mean trouble as well. So let me see karmically. Yeah, you look, you're dealing with somebody who is who just like doesn't want problems. Kind of like they avoid problems at any cost. They kind of like really don't want to go in that direction. And let me see, look, and this is telling you guys, certain things are too hard. Things are not supposed to be that hard. right? Because you did get it reversed. It's saying like you need to drop some burdens. Whatever it was, the burden, you kind of like need to go and realize what is too much. Maybe they are doing it too much on their end. They don't want to even deal with anything. Maybe you absorb everything. Because this card is also talking about giving and receiving. And that kind of like relationship usually is one person gives, another person receives. It kind of like works really well for narcissists who needs accolades all the time. So let me see. It looks like it's going to be some kind of like shocking thing and realization of something, and usually it is around our birthday that we are sort of like just waking up and we are looking into where we should be going, what we should be doing. So look at this, like we're having a Knight of Pentacles. Look at this, is like what is supposed to be working for you. So it just kind of like looks like that any expressions of love, whether it is done on let's say very ground level, sort of like, hey, would you like some food? I'm going to make something for you. Or hey, I'm going to iron that shirt for you. Hey, I'll open the door for you. Or something that is done on a more romantic level, sort of like gestures. It's just like not well received over here. Interesting. So now it can either you or somebody here is kind of like living in illusion and delusion. Whenever Tower, I see reversed, and that's, by the way, the color, the card for tomorrow, which would be the June the 1st. That's going to be really, really interesting, because the Tower reverse tells me, hey, you know, just like here, it is almost telling me that both of you kind of lived in some kind of delusion. Both of you kind of created something that kind of like cannot exist, sort of like the House of Cards, which takes just like one pinprick to kind of like set everything off. Because the Tower reverse means it's not going to be something big and shocking and strenuous. It's going to be something that is really not, unfortunately, because people continue being clueless, right? And I don't know if you ever watch those shows, whatever, you know, like, I mean, the weight loss shows, like in the UK, I watched the show, and they actually follow people who claim they're doing everything the way it should. They eat healthily, etc., etc. Then they find out booze, that they find a whole bunch of like calories, then a little bite is like this big. And so basically this is kind of like what describes this kind of person who truly feel that, you know, they're like striving. And maybe some of you or somebody here really feels that things are going to work out, just if this happens or just if that happened, kind of like things might actually get better. And there is like certain defensiveness in the situation. But these guys, this guy or woman you're dealing with seems to be really harsh and not to have really nice and kind words. So look at this, the Chariot reversed. Things are getting derailed completely. They're almost like fending you off. Like it looks like no matter what I try, as I said, like even kind of like small or big kind of like niceties are not going to be well received. And look, lovely, the Justice comes last. This is kind of like a karma card, just like this one. So you're obviously dealing with what some of you call twin flames. I'm calling karmic relationship. Something was really, really important that you literally wrote this person in and say, look, you have to be a part of my life. And I really feel that, Gemini, because this is your dark side, Devil is your dark side, like your card is the Lovers, the 6, and this is 15, 1 and 5 is 6, so this is kind of the other side of the coin, that maybe this person brought the burst out of you. Maybe, you know, you really were not able to display to them all your kindness and everything that you can bring on board, but how could you if you have been toyed with all along? But when the Justice comes, it's saying a few things. One, if this is some divorce you're going through, that divorce will go through. And it looks like everything is falling in balance. Interestingly enough, you're having these two cards. This one and this one. This one has merchant scales and this one has judicial scales. So what's going to happen is that actually things are going to end well. maybe not end well with your own Hollywood happy ending, but they're going to end well for you. Everything that happens will happen for a reason when you get karma cards, and that reason is going to be clued in later. You're going to realize that maybe you live in a dream world, and so did they, and they couldn't give you what you wanted to have, and you simply just cannot really have something sustainable with them. Again, Gemini, this is only a general reading, so it could be bits and pieces that were like affecting you. To get your private reading, this reading is still on the special. It is only $50, and check it out on my website, cattarot.ca. And guys, I would love to hear your opinion of who are these people over here, what is going here. Look at this 323, like almost looks like you have a whole bunch of admirers and everybody is having some kind of agenda. You know, you need to cut this off. It looks like you did initially in the past, but kind of like managed to kind of like slide away. So Gemini, let me know what's going to be happening this month, and don't let this come in a way for your birthday celebration. If this person is not there for you for birthday, cut him off. I can tell it is because you're an air sign. Love you guys. All the best.